You know, I never thought that I was gonna make a video something like this. And to all my subscribers, who know me, I normally never make videos like this. And I'm gonna be honest, this is something that I didn't really want to do, but after all the stuff that's been happening to me, I have no choice but to make a video about this and call this out. And my blue brother Matthew George, the bad boy slash the bad guy, he did tell me, Domingo, you cannot hide this forever. You gotta let people know what's going on, because they don't know the whole story. Because sooner or later, they need to know about this. And what I'm saying, as you see the video title, I'm here to address this negativity and drama that I've been dealing with for a long time now. And not only that, but also I'm explaining why the negativity and drama to get involved with is not worth it. Because I want to make this video to let everybody know who's watching, to make sure that, what happened to me getting involved into negativity and drama does not happen to anyone else. Because these things should not be happening to no one. And it's a tough decision that I had to make, but this is something that I have to do. I have to call this out, because not only that I'm going to talk about this, but also I am going to be calling out two people, and I will mention them by names and stuff, because if I don't mention them by names, then you guys don't know who I'm talking about, right? So that's what I'm here to do, and I gotta call this out. I need to get this off my chest, and I try, guy. I try to, not talk about this. I try to stay away from the drama and negativity, but I try not to talk about this. I try to stay away from it, But every time I try to do it, this drama, it keeps coming right back to me, and this is something I don't want to deal with. Like, I'm too old for this, and I'm too old to deal with this stuff, and I have no choice but to call this out. So we're gonna get this started right now. So what's up, everybody? This is Domingo here, and no, I'm not here as my character. I'm not here as Domingo Hero Network, Domingo Hero Network of the Ice Barrier. I'm not here as the character. I am here as Domingo the person, because this is some serious stuff that I have to address. And you see the video title, I'm going to talk about this. Now, before I call out two people who bring in the negativity and drama to me, I'm going to talk about why getting involved into drama and negativity is not worth it. Because I feel like nobody should not go through this, And I'm going to talk about this right now, because I know this is totally out of character in me, and I know this is something that I normally don't do. I never make videos like this, but I have to do this. And you're wondering why I am recording this on my PS4. It's because I know that this is going to be a long video, and I decided to use my PlayStation 4 to record this long video, because I know of how long it is, and I didn't want to do it on my phone, because I normally record mostly stuff on my phone, but I'm using my PS4 because I realized this video is probably going to be so long. So on my PS4 I do got plenty of storage, but my phone not so much, because I only upload videos like under 2 gigs, and somewhere like around between maybe like 25, 26, 27 minutes around there. So because of storage on my phone, I decided to go with my PS4. The PS4 is different because I got plenty of storage. So this video is going to be a long one. And the first thing I'm going to talk about right now is the drama and the negativity, and why getting involved with drama and negativity is not worth it. So we're going to get this started. The reason why I want to make this video talking about this drama and negativity is because I want to let everybody know that getting involved in the drama negativity is not worth it, because I feel like, in my opinion, is a waste of time. And another thing I want to say too, when I am done with this video, I'm only going to mention this once, And I will never mention this again. And after this, I'm going to move on, and I'm never going to talk about the drama negativity ever again, because this is the last time I'm going to talk about this. Because like I said, I normally don't make videos like this, but this is something I have to address, because after this, I am never going to talk about this drama negativity bullshit ever again. So now the reason why I don't think it's not worth it to talk about the drama stuff is because, you know, there comes at times where it makes people feel bad. But it all depends on like what problems of the negativity of drama situation you have, you know, like, and this is something that I've been dealing with for years, man. These things is sometimes it could be very dangerous. It could be, sometimes it makes people upset. Sometimes it gets you angry. Sometimes, you know, you just feel like you have a dark cloud on the top of your head, you know? And these are stuff that I feel like nobody, and I'll talk about real people, nobody should not go through. Not, and it doesn't matter who it is, you know, anyone. These things should not be happening to no one, because these things does affect people's, you know, mental health. It's, and not only that, but it's very depressing getting involved in negativity and drama. I've been there many times. Am I happy about that? Was I proud of it? No, I was not. I was not happy about it. I was not proud of it at all. I hate this whole, you know, drama and negativity. Whether it's on social media or even in real life for that matter, you know, getting involved with it, it really makes you upset. It can make you angry. You know, it depends, you know, on what problems that you have. And it's something I feel like no one should go through. Trust me, I've been there before. And not only that, but like I mentioned, it did cause like, you know, negativity. You know, it caused like depression. I've been there before. I suffered depression multiple times and beat it. I've been to the hospital like many times of this depression. I remember I went the last time I went to a hospital because of this whole mental, you know, depression and all that stuff that I've been doing to affecting my mental health was 2019. And I remember and even before then, I remember 2013, which was one of the worst years for me, that I have suffered depression to one point that I almost try to end this all, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean by ending it all. And it almost happened at one point before I got the help that I needed, went to the hospital and stuff, because I just didn't want to deal with this anymore, you know? I didn't want to deal with this anymore at that time, but I survived depression. And it wasn't easy to do. And getting involved into negativity and drama, what if you have, and even like fights, like I hate fighting against people, you know, I hate that too, whether it's like a friend or a family member or people you don't know or workers, like, you know, or you basically anyone, doesn't matter who it is. It's just not worth it, because I feel like getting involved in negativity and drama is a waste of time. It could be affecting your mental health, physically, mentally. It's not good. It's not good at all. And speaking about social media, that's the thing I want to say, because, you know, the whole, you know, the negativity and the drama happening on YouTube, you know, not just YouTube, but even other social media platforms, you know, like Instagram and Facebook and what else? TikTok, OnlyFans, Kicks, you know, Blue Sky, you know, and other Twitter, you know, now known as X, you know, any social media platform, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember back in the day when there was no social media, it was actually pretty good, you know, and the only social media site was only one, and that was MySpace. I remember MySpace used to be around, you know. Now, I know MySpace is not around anymore because it died after once other platforms like Facebook and Twitter and even YouTube and other platforms, you know, was there. But I remember there used to be one social media platform, that was MySpace. And honestly, MySpace was actually a very good social media platform, because you don't see a lot of negativity and drama like we have nowadays, you know, in social media, like from YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms that I mentioned. It's so toxic. And that's the thing, because like it's hard sometimes to try to stay away from this. It's not easy to do. And I've been through a lot. And it's not just me. I even have family members that have been through depression and all that stuff. My sister suffered depression. She survived. My mom suffering. She survived. I've survived depressions. I even have friends in real life have depression, and they beat it and survive. They got the help that they need. And we did everything we could to make sure that we get through this. And it's just very tough. It was a battle that it was so hard, but somehow we went through this. And you want to talk about toxic communities, right? I did mention social media, but there's like other communities that are so negative and toxic too. Like, for example, the sports community. And you want to know why I never talk about sports, and I never make videos about sports or even talk about this? It's because the sports community is so toxic. Like, there's like so many like negativity, drama, and people who are grown adults acting like a bunch of child, not acting their age, and then doing stupid things in their houses, or even in public for that matter, over sports, whether it's like NFL, like football, or NBA, with basketball, MLB with baseball, or NHL with hockey, or soccer, or even any related sports stuff. Like, the sports community is toxic. That's why I never been to the sports community, and I never will. And I'm glad that I never did a sports channel. And I want to give a shout out to my Blue Brother members, Matthew George and Arthur Alaverni, because those two used to be part of the sports community, and they left because even they talked about how toxic it was and how bad, and drama and negativity, because they don't want to get involved in this. They don't care about the sports community. They don't even care about sports at all. Arthur and Matthew don't even watch sports anymore. Me, I was never a sports channel. I never watched sports at all. Like, I remember playing sports in high school, but I never watched sports like baseball, basketball, all these type of sports that I never watched it, because I just don't care. Matthew and Arthur at this point, when they left the sports community, they don't care about it anymore. They don't care. They just don't care. That's why they left and moved on. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know Arthur's not on YouTube anymore because he been left, because he went on to do his own thing, all that stuff. But you can see why he left, and not to mention, like, the stupid things that people did in the sports community is absolutely so pathetic. Like, for example, I remember hearing news about, them breaking TVs. They even beat up people, all because a team that they loved lost, whether it's from like football, basketball, or baseball, or whatever sports, breaking TV. I remember there was a news report about people causing a riot, because their team lost over it. This was over sports. Like, really? Causing a riot? And destroying property damage? And not only that, but also I remember there's the news about one person, set his entire house on fire because his team lost. Whether it's like from a Super Bowl or the World Series or Stanley Cup Series or whatever, right? Like, really? Like these people in this generation. So you see, that's the problem with today's generation. They always got to do stupid stuff, and they're also toxic too, because like they have done stupid things in the past as well. See, look at the sports community. Like, it's so bad. It is so bad. Like, to the point, like, really, like, to the point that I remember somebody like setting their house on fire and they got arrested for arson. Like, really? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Because here's the thing. When you get involved in negativity and drama, right? What are you trying to accomplish? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, it's not worth it. And like I said, it's not worth it to do all these things. Like, if you're like, who cares if they lost a game or something? It's just sports. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, they're just sports. They're not meant to take these things take way too seriously. I feel like that's not the case. That should not happen. It's not even that serious. It's just a sports game, you know? It's just a sports game, you know? That's why I'm glad I never joined the sports committee or even make a video talking about sports, because of how toxic the sports community is. It's not good. It is not good at all. And you want to talk about community that's bad? Look at the wrestling community. That community is no better either. I remember I used to make videos about wrestling, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a casual fan. I'm not a casual fan anymore, because they're just as bad as the Smarks and anti-Smarks, right? But you see, you know, it doesn't matter what type of fan you are, whether it's like casual or you know, Smark, anti-Smark, or whatever, right? The wrestling game is so toxic. And that's why I left and I stopped making videos about wrestling, because what is the point of complaining and making all these stuff? Like, you know, it, like, what is it going to accomplish? Nothing. That's why I left. And I don't even talk about wrestling on videos in a long time, because of how toxic wrestling community is. And you know what else is toxic besides those communities? The gaming community, the video game community. You know, even the gaming community is no better either. You know, and here's the thing. I love video games, but even I have to admit, the people in the game community, you know, doing something stupid, like, it's just so childish. It's so ridiculous, you know. Like, I'm not a fan, like, of people, like, they want to break their video game controllers, raging over video games, destroying property there, or even breaking consoles and stuff, or even PC game or whatever, you know. It's just so stupid. Like, it's so stupid. It's so childish. It's so ridiculous. And that's why, you know, and I love video games so much, but this is why I will never be part of the gaming community, because it's just a big disappointment. I'm very disappointed with that community and how it's been, you know. It's just a shame that people are doing stupid shit. You know, they just want to do stupid things that they're not supposed to do and did it anyway. Like, what are they trying to accomplish? Like you're spending your hard-earned money buying game consoles or PC controllers and stuff like that, and you just want to cause a riot and breaking stuff like that. Like, come on. That's not going to help. That's not going to accomplish nothing. Nothing. It's not going to accomplish nothing. And I think and that's the reason why I'm not going to be part of it. Like, for example, you know, whether it's like Nintendo or PlayStation from Sony, or Xbox with Microsoft, or gaming developers like Sega and stuff like that. But you see, I remember a couple years ago, I was watching a Nintendo Direct, and one of the games that Nintendo revealed for the Nintendo Switch, the first one, Nintendo Switch 1, was The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, right? They actually show gameplay footage of what's it going to be like. And not to mention, in the gameplay footage, they show, you know, like, Zelda being playable. When they showed the trailer when it first came out, right? When Nintendo showed that, everybody, you know, was hating on Nintendo, going after them, threatening them, even sent death threats. They were pissed over a trailer that, I'm like, what is the problem? Like, because they had a problem with the fact that Zelda is playable. And I'm like, really? Like, over that? Like, it's... And I don't have... And if anything, I don't have an issue with that. And let me tell you why I don't have an issue with Zelda being playable. And the reason why I don't have an issue with that is because I actually like the idea of Zelda, you know, being the main protagonist of the game, being the main character of that game, Echoes of Wisdom, and trying to save Link from the evil villains in the game. I thought that was a great idea. And not to mention, look at the name of the title of this game, The Legend of Zelda. So Zelda being the main protagonist of the game, because this is the first Zelda game to be in the main protagonist game as a main character and being playable, and Nintendo got a lot of backlash for it, and I feel like this was so stupid. And I do love the idea because it's actually pretty cool. But it's like people were complaining about that. They didn't like the idea. Oh, how come Zelda's playable and stuff like that, you know? And they got a problem with that. Like, it's just a video game character. Like, come on now. I didn't have an issue. I thought that was a good idea, to be honest. Because I remember in the past Legend of Zelda games, Link always saved Zelda from the forces of evil. And I thought in Echoes of Wisdom, you know, I thought, Zelda doing the same thing, helping save Link from the villains. I thought that was a pretty good idea, and I actually liked the idea. And also, when I get a chance, I gotta see if I could buy that game, because I heard that game is actually very good. And when the game first came out, it was good. It was mostly positive. People played it, and it got positive reviews, and it was a very good game. Echoes of Wisdom was a very good game. Now, I remember in the game, not only that you could play as Zelda, but you could also still play as Link. But you know what I don't understand? Some people who had an issue with that are hypocrites, because they complain about Zelda being playable, but yet they bought the game and all that stuff, and they like it. Like, it's so hypocritical and so stupid. And that's the problem, the hypocrisy, the double standards. Like, it's just so pathetic. That's why I never want to get involved in the wrestling, the video game community, because of stupid things going on in that community. Like, I want no part of it. As much as I love video games, I gotta be honest, getting involved into the drama and negativity in the gaming community, it's not worth my time. I want to give everybody some advice. Never get involved in drama. Never get involved in the negativity. Stay as far away as you can, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because what happened, with me, with all this drama and negativity, I just couldn't handle this anymore. I feel like, just stay as far away from it as possible. Don't get involved with it. It's not worth it. It is not worth it, and it's going to be sad. It's going to be depressing, and I don't want bad things to happen to good people, because these things should not be happening to anyone. So that's what I need to address. Now I got that out the way. It's time for me to address two people that I have issues with, and I'm going to talk about this right now. So the first person I want to talk about is a guy who has, for some reason, I don't know why, being obsessed with hype, with people's height. And not only that, but also he's been causing trouble with not only with me, but with Matthew George and Arthur Lavergne. So, and I have to say, this person had made so many accounts with different names that I don't even know what to call him. So I don't know what to call him at this point, but he's going to get called out because he has been causing trouble with me and my Blue Butter members. So we've been dealing with this guy for like almost a year now, for like almost a full year. Because I remember this all started, I remember when, he used to, watch my videos. He also watched Matthew's videos. He even come to Matthew's live stream a couple times. But this guy was being a creep. And he's been saying stuff that is not true. Basically false information. He's lying, saying stuff like, because I remember when Arthur was talking about, I think in one of Matthew's live streams, where he was talking about, being in, when he went to a basketball game with his brother, and then this creep, this idiot, wanted to say that, oh, you went to that basketball game? I was there. I actually saw you there. And I'm like, that was so, and the way he said it though was was weird and strange and bizarre. And not only that, but that wasn't the only thing he said. He said some other things too. He even said that he actually called me and said, oh, we're gonna rebrand the Blue Brothers and stuff. And I'm like, you never called me, and you never asked me to do rebrand Blue. And not only that, but also he was asking, about Matthew George's girlfriend, Sandra, saying, asking stuff like, how's she doing, all that stuff. And that is so creepy. Like, come on, why would you say that? And this guy's been lying. And not only that, but he was lying, saying that, I remember on one of the live streams, right, in Matthew George, one of his live streams, he actually told Matt, he was saying in the chat that, oh, I spoke to him, we made a cover song together. And I show up in that live stream, and I saw that comment. And I warned this guy, listen, please stop lying. Stop lying to me. We never made a song together. I warned this guy to cut it out. And he still keep on with the lies. And he also made he had so many other accounts. And just like basically causing trouble with me, with Matthew and Arthur. Arthur was also there at that time. And we blocked him, time him out, block his ass and all that stuff, all these other accounts that he's been making. Like, it's just so pathetic. Like, he's been lying, all these stuff, saying that, and not only that, but also he went to another live stream and was saying that, I'll do a retrospective with Domingo. Don't worry. No, you're not. No, you're not. I don't think so. Because you never asked. And you know what the problem with this guy? He thinks that he's going to replace us and the Blue Brothers, and he thinks that he's going to join the Blue Brothers. I don't think so. I hate liars, man. I like, seriously, I fucking hate liars. I hate that shit. This is something I will never do. Because this is something that nobody should do. You never lie to somebody, whether it's on social media or in real life for that matter. You don't lie to people like that. You don't spread false information that is not true. This guy is lying and spreading false information and saying things that is not true, causing trouble. And the way he said it too was so bizarre and creepy and weird. Like, first of all, did he actually said? Did he really went to a basketball game with Arthur at that time, when Arthur was talking about it in Matthew's life? Of course not. He wasn't really there. Did he actually really call me? No, he did not. Did he actually talk to me about revamping the bro? No, he did not. He never asked anybody about that. He never asked me about that. It was all lies. I fucking hate liars, man. Like, it really pissed me off. And you know what the thing about this too, everybody? This is not the first time this happened to me. Yeah, this happened to me before when with some fake ass people want to come to my chat lying. Like, let me tell you what happened, right? Back in 2019, do you remember the whole sub for sub networking BS, the bullshit that was going on? Where people going to other people's channel, lying to them, saying that, oh, I subscribed to your channel, then they want to do like the sub for sub and all that stuff, and they never really subscribed to the channel. Well, first of all, if you would have subscribed to someone's channel, you want to get the notification. I had a couple of people coming to my channel in 2019 lying to me, saying that, I subscribed, and they never did. They never hit the subscribe button. I never got a notification of them hitting the subscribe button. And I remember I actually made a video addressing that, and I called that out. And I only mentioned that once and never talked about it again because I was so pissed off. Like, I hate that shit. Lying is wrong. You're not supposed to lie to people like that. And this fucking idiot needs to understand, you cannot go on social media and you cannot do that in real life lying to people, because you're not going to get away with it. Because here's the thing. People will find out that you're lying, because if you lie to somebody, whether it's on social media or even in real life for that matter, and if that person find out that you're lying about them, spreading false information that's not really true, they're going to find out about it, and they're not going to trust, and they're going to block you, and they're not going to talk to you, and they're not going to trust you, because that's how you lose trust, when you lie to somebody. You cannot do that. You cannot do that, because let me tell you something. I had a family, has raised the right way. And the one thing, that we learn is that you never lie to people like that. Whether it's real life or social media, You cannot do that. And I remember I talked to Matthew, and I did talk to Arthur about this too, that, we cannot lie to each other, When, we have to be honest with each other. We cannot lie. Whatever's going on, we got to speak the truth. Because remember, in the court of law, you have to tell the truth. You always got to tell the truth, because you know what they say. You have to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay? Lying is wrong. And to this fucking creep that has been lying and stuff, I don't know what this guy's problem with us. Why is he lying to us? That's the question I want to know. Why are you doing that? Why are you lying to us? Why are you spreading false information that's not true? Do you have a problem with us? Do we say something that you don't like? What is it? Because I don't know. I don't know what this guy's problem. And like I said before, I don't even know his name, because he has so many different accounts and he has so many different names. I don't know what to call him. And then this guy wants to, and like I said, he wants to say stuff like, oh, I'll replace, Matthew and the Blue Brothers, oh, I'll do the retrospective with Domingo. Let me tell you something, you lying creepy bastard. You will never replace anyone from the Blue Brothers, and you will never join the Blue Brothers. Let me say this right now. You are never going to join the Blue Brothers, okay? And you will never do a retrospective, because me, Matthew, and Arthur, the Blue Brothers, we're not going to tolerate that shit. We don't associate with people who are lying to us and spreading false information that is not true. Okay? Because like I said, if you lie to somebody and if they found out you're lying, that's how you lose trust. And you know what else? This guy, he used to make a couple videos as well on his channel. But you see, you're not going to get a lot of support by coming on YouTube or social media or any type of social media lying to people. You think you're going to get support by lying to people and saying false information that is not true and being a creep? No, you're not going to get support like that. Because like I said, if they found out that you lied to them, they're going to cut ties with you. They don't want nothing to do with you. So you need to fuck off, okay? And Matthew already called you out on this, because even he got sick and tired of it, to the point that, he called him out, because he had enough of this. And to that fucking creep, if you don't want trouble with us, all you gotta do is just don't come to our channels and leave us alone. It's that simple. If you don't want to cause trouble, then you need to fuck off and leave us the fuck alone. Leave me alone, leave Matthew alone, leave Arthur alone. Leave us alone. Do not bother us if you don't want any trouble, okay? Because we call you out for a reason. You come into our trouble, you're causing trouble, spreading false information that's not true, and all that stuff. Like you talked about, oh, I went to the game and I saw Arthur there. No, you didn't. And you would say, oh, he had two friends. That wasn't his friends. One of those people was his brother, and the other guy was a security guard working at that basketball, at that place, at the Crypto.com arena, formerly known as the Staples Center, now known as Crypto.com arena. Okay? So you need to shut up about this. Like, stop lying and just leave us alone then, if you don't want any trouble. So just go away already. Just stay the fuck out of our way. And don't bother coming to our channel again. Just leave us alone. Okay? Because like I said, lying is wrong. And you cannot be doing that in social media or even in real life for that matter. Like I said, you know what they say in the court of law? You got to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But anyway, now we got him out the way, because I'm not going to talk about him ever again. So now I'm going to move on to another person. Now, unlike this creep, this person I know whose name it is. And it's someone that I know for about, I think, almost 6 to 7 years. And this is someone that used to be a former friend of mine and a former subscriber, turning on me, bringing the negativity and drama with me, causing trouble with me, with Arthur, and with Matthew. And we don't want nothing to do with this person. With her. And yes, it's a she. And this person that I used to support and I thought she was loyal, then all of a sudden she wants to stab me in the back and all the stupid shit that she put me through. That person I'm talking about is none other than Erica Straightweb, aka Erica, the WWF WCW Diva Straight 4.0 1985. So, and I know some of you people are going to say, really? You had issues with Erica? What happened? Because I know you want to know the whole story, and you want to know why I don't talk to her anymore. Why I don't talk to Erica anymore. And I'm going to tell you the whole story. So, I know Matthew did talk about this on his channel when he called Erica and all that stuff. But now it's my turn. But the only difference is I'm going to explain more in details because, we have, different sides of the story. So I'm going to tell you what is going on. Why I am not friends with Erica anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me go back in time all the way to 2018 from the very beginning. and I'm gonna talk to you guys like how I first met her, all the support that we used to have and all that stuff. So the first time I saw Erica on YouTube, it was August of 2018. It was a few, because I remember I did debut on YouTube around January of 2018. And I first met Erica around August of 2018. I remember I watched a couple of her videos, about the good old wrestling and all that stuff. And I'm not going to lie, at the time, there were pretty interesting videos, and I subscribed to her channel at the time. And I remember she watched some of my videos, subscribed to me, and we started supporting each other. Now, around 2018, I'm going to be honest, we actually get along pretty well. We get along. We support each other. We used to DM each other like on IG, Instagram, all that stuff. And we were cool around 2018. I remember, we talked to each other. I remember we talked about each other's birthdays, and talk about the good old wrestling. We talk about how garbage modern wrestling is and all that stuff. We talk about animations, like Sailor Moon and Inuyasha, like Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that stuff. Everything was good at that time, and we support each other throughout 2018, and also throughout 2019. We get along. I remember I used to do live streams, and she used to come in a couple live streams, and and at that time, in 2018, 2019, everything was doing good. I know she loves the games I play, especially like old school games. I remember I used to play like, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I remember playing old school games like Super Mario Bros. 3. There were some funny moments that she likes too. Super Mario World, the video games I remember playing that she likes. I remember I did a live stream about Luigi's Mansion 3 on Nintendo Switch 1 that I used to do that she actually liked. I remember she used to give me like shout outs. I remember I gave her shout outs too. I remember she used to do videos and even post on her community tags, wishing me a happy birthday. I used to wish her a happy birthday too. And I remember in 2022, I remember when I reached 1,000 subscribers, she congratulated me, made a video about that. And at that time, I did appreciate that, and I thank her all that stuff. I remember, thank her for her getting a lot of subscribers at that time. And everything, especially in 2020, everything was mostly good. We get along, we have fun. Everything was fine, So in 2018, 2019, everything was good. Everything was fine those years. But then, let's fast forward to 2020. Now, this is something, this is when I realized Erica's behavior, when I compare her behavior from 2018 to 2019 to 2020, there was something about her that was so strange and different. And the way that she's behaving at that time, there was something about her that changed in 2020. Now, as we all know, in 2020, it was one of the worst years for a lot of people, for everybody. And when I say everybody had a bad year in 2020, I mean everybody. And we all know what happened with the whole pandemic situation that happened, around the world. And it affected a lot of people, And we all know because of, the whole COVID situation, right? Where a global pandemic happened. Everything was shut down for safety reasons because, people losing their lives from COVID. And, it sucked, and it was one of the worst years that happened to all of us, And I remember, I lost 2 family members from COVID. I lost 2 family members, one of them from April 2020. And the other one was from December of 2000. I think it was, December 2022. I lost 2 family members from COVID, and it's really sad and to see innocent people losing their lives from this, and it was very tough at that time. around that time, Erica's behavior has changed. Like, I remember Erica was, saying some weird things. I remember she used to repeat so many things like creamy dog poop and, you know, talking about how bad the current state of modern wrestling, which to be fair, it is bad at that thing. Let's just be honest. And but the way she said these things was so weird, especially whether it was on the videos or even on live streams. It was so weird. But even despite all that, we still talk to each other and support and all that stuff. It's just that her behavior changed a little bit, and it was so bizarre. And not only that she was been acting like that in my live stream, but even in Matthew's live streams, Arthur's live streams, and even other YouTubers' live streams, like she was talking about like, oh fuck WWE, all that stuff. Oh fuck this wrestling. Oh creamy dog poop. And then I remember she said something I think in one of my live streams. She said something that I did not like. I was in shock when I saw this. She said something about her being horny. And I saw that, I was like, what? That is so weird. When I saw that in the chat, I was like, that's weird. Like, that is something I've never heard out of her like that before. So yeah, it was so bizarre. Like the way that I think that happened in my live stream, or maybe it was Matthew's. I don't remember what it was. I don't know which live stream was that, but she said something on horror and stuff. And then she was talking, and then not only that, but she was complaining about how the whole pandemic ruining her life. Oh, she wanted to go places and she couldn't do, and she was talking about her being depressed and all that stuff. Now at that time, me and Matthew did try to help her out, and we told her, everything's gonna be fine, you just gotta hang in there. We gave her some advice and everything, but the problem was when we gave her advice, she completely ignored the advice. And then you want to talk about live streams, let's talk about, before we talk about that, I remember the whole creamy dog. When she first said that, at first it was kind of funny though for a while, but then she keeps repeating it. She went overboard with it, and it's just like ridiculous, and she kind of overkilled it, and it's not even funny anymore, and I think she went overboard with that. I'm like, okay, this is so weird. Like creamy dog poop this, creamy dog poop that, and not only that, she's been using a lot of emojis too. Like she go way too many times with these emojis as well, in the live chat and the comments and all that stuff. Like it was a little weird, but even throughout 2020, we mostly got along, and everything was for the most part was fine, But however, around 2020. Erica's live stream. Now, I remember Erica did say she wanted to do a live stream, and when she got a chance to do it, I did appear in a couple of live streams. It was mostly fun and all that stuff. But then there were some live streams when she was talking about, she was mostly talking about wrestling, right? Talking about, the good old days about wrestling, and also talk about how bad modern wrestling is and how it sucks and all that stuff, right? I mean, now here's the thing. That's her channel, that's what she wants to do. That's fine. Because honestly, she wants to talk about like the good old days and all that stuff. That's her choice. I know some people have a problem with people getting stuck in the 90s and all that stuff. But you see, I really don't care if she wants to talk about the good old days, whether it's like the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s and all that stuff. If that's what she wants to talk about, then let her talk about. That's not the issue. But here's the thing. I remember I used to miss. I only came to some of her live stream, not all of it, but some of it. But around that time when I missed some of her live stream, like for example, there was that one live stream I didn't go to because I had a real life doctor's appointment at that time in 2020, right? So I had a doctor's appointment. I didn't show the license because I wasn't home at that time. Because I had an appointment, doctor's appointment that I had to take care of at that time. And when I was taking care of that, because the thing is though, I'm not going to be on YouTube all the time because there's stuff in my life that I have to do. Because at the end of the day, YouTube is a hobby. It's just a hobby, right? So then I remember around that time, someone, was one of Erica's subscribers, DM me. And to be honest, I didn't screenshot this at this time. I really wish I did, to be honest, but I didn't get it. I did not screenshot this, unfortunately. But what happened was one of Erica's subscribers, I'm not going to say the person's name, but this person actually told me that Erica, after she was finishing up her live stream, she was whining and complaining about me not missing a couple of her live streams. She was saying that, oh, I don't think Domingo's a loyal person. Oh, he never showed up to my live stream. Oh, I can't believe he didn't show up with that. Saying some stupid stuff like that. And when I first heard about this, I was like, what? She's just bashing me, talking shit behind my back over a live stream? Over a fucking live stream? Like, that is so stupid. Now, at that time, I didn't say nothing about it because, I didn't want to cause trouble with Erica. That's the reason why I didn't say anything. But when I look back at it now, I feel like I couldn't say something to her about it, but I chose not to because I didn't want to cause any drama with Erica. And also around that time, she was also causing drama with other people as well, which I'll get to that. But the way that, that she was like talking shit behind my back, complaining that, and it wasn't just me. She would also talk about other people that she saw on YouTube, complaining about not being in her live stream. But here's the problem. Erica needs to understand this. Not everybody is going to come to your live stream. Okay, there are some live streams they're going to be in, and there's some live streams that they're not going to be in. I mean, look at me, for example. I'm like, when I never complained when some people came to my and some people didn't. You know why? Because they probably got busy with other things to do. Because she needs to understand they have lives, they have important stuff. They're not going to be on YouTube all the time. They're not going to be on every single live stream all the time. That's something that Erica needs to understand. Not everyone is going to come to your live stream. They're going to come in some of your live stream, but not all of it. Because if there's some important things they have to do, that's what they're going to have to do. They got to take care of it. And Erica needs to understand you cannot complain about people not showing up in all of your live stream. Only some. That's something she needs to understand. And not only that, but also another thing that happened on her live stream is she's been ignoring some of people's comments. Like, for example, I remember one live stream, right? Like, I remember there was like, me and Arthur were talking about non-wrestling. She was talking about wrestling, right? I was talking about like a couple, like me and Arthur was talking about, NBA. We was talking about sports. We was talking about, one of the basketball players and all that stuff, right? Erica normally reads the comments, but she only responds to comments of people talking about wrestling. But she never responds to comments of people that are talking about non-wrestling stuff. Like, we was talking about basketball and stuff. We was talking about even other people in her live stream was talking about other things besides wrestling, and she saw it, but she completely ignored it and never read the comments. So she basically ignored those comments. Like, that's not cool, man. Like, and even Arthur was upset about that too. We talked about that with Matthew in the DMs. And that is not cool at all. And I will never do that. Arthur will never do that. Even Matthew will never do it. Because when I was doing live streams, right? The one thing I always do, I will always read the comments, I'm not going to ignore the comments because that's disrespectful. Like, you cannot do that. You cannot ignore people's comments like that. You cannot do that. I mean, if they say so, I mean, I can understand if they say something stupid and offensive, yeah. But when they're talking about like other things, and you ignore that and not reading those comments and stuff, that's totally disrespectful in my opinion. Because I will never do that. Because every time I do a live stream, I always read the comments and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing I always said, because when I used to do like gaming live streams, right? Because it is hard for me to like, pay attention to the game, and then you got to look at the chat and read and stuff. But the one thing I've always said in every single live stream I did, I always said, guys, I will read your chat in a few minutes. There's some parts of the games that I have to do. Especially like sometimes when you play games online, you cannot pause that, because when you play online, the servers, it will never, there's no pause button. And I always say, guys, just give me a few minutes. I will read your comments. There's something I got to do in this game. And I always say that every time, when I play the games, and then after I'm done with it, I pause the game sometimes and read the comments, because I'm not going to ignore those comments. I read every single comments. But with Erica, when she does it, she ignores some comments. The only comments she responds is people talking about wrestling. But when people talk about non-wrestling, she just completely ignores it. And you could tell that she's ignoring it when you look at her face, when she's looking at the live chat. She's reading the live chat, she sees the comment, and she completely ignores some of the comments. And I think that's not cool at all. Arthur got pissed off to the point that he don't even want to show up in Erica's live streams anymore after that. And I don't blame him, to be fair, when I look back at it. So then, so yeah. But despite all of that happening and throughout 2020 and all the hard times and stuff that was going on, me and Erica, we still talk, and everything was fine. But around that time, even though her behavior was kind of strange, and even though she was kind of acting like a child, and creating me dog put this, talking about wrestling and stuff, and we still talk to her. And speaking about that, there is one thing I did mention: the drama. She got involved into dramas with another YouTuber, and his name was A Boy Chap. Now, A Boy Chap is a former YouTuber that, that me and Matthew and Arthur used to know. Erica used to know him as well. Around that time, A Boy Chap was causing drama at the time, having issues with Matthew and stuff like that, and even other YouTubers as well. Even Amy Amore at one point, another YouTuber as well. Erica, was there around that time. And, Erica and the Boy Chip had problems. And I remember when Erica, not once but twice, she did this, where she actually called out A Boy Chip in one of the people's live streams. I remember she went to Matthew's live streams. I wasn't there at that time when this happened, but because I was busy with life. I was busy at that time because, like I said, life is more important than anything else at the end of the day. But what happened was, Matthew told me this, that Erica called out A Boy Chip in his live stream, and Matthew was so pissed off about that to the point that he deleted that comment, and even confronted Erica about that, and told her not to do that stuff, because you're going to cause trauma with A Boy Chip. And you're lucky A Boy Chip wasn't there when that happened. And she did that again in my live stream. She did that when she came to my live stream, calling out A Boy Chip again, to the point that I had to delete that comment as well, because I didn't want A Boy Chip to see that, because we don't want any drama with him. So she's been getting involved with this drama with A Boy Chip as well, and that's not cool at all. Not only him, but even a couple of his subscribers as well. And that was not cool at all. And and she should have never did that. And I remember we did talk to her about that, and we told her, you got to stay out of trouble. But the problem is, every time we talked to her about other things that had nothing to do with wrestling, when we used to DM her at that time, she always got to bring up wrestling. Like, why are you bringing up wrestling involving in stuff that had nothing to do with wrestling? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have nothing to do with wrestling. Has nothing to do with other issues, whether it's like drama, negativity, sports, or anything like that, or any other stuff. Wrestling had nothing to do with it, and she wants to bring wrestling into other things that had nothing to do with wrestling, and that was ridiculous. I didn't like that at all. Matthew and Arthur didn't like that at all. But despite all of that was going on, we did talk throughout 2020, and yeah, even though there were some bad things, for the most part, we still, getting along and all of that, and we still support each other. However, that all changed in 2021. And I'm going to mention that right now. In 2021. So in 2021, she's been getting involved into dramas. Not only talking stuff about a boy chat, but also she did some other things too that was totally uncalled for. So she also got involved into dramas with subscribers from Demo the Warrior at that time in 2021. Because I remember she did support Demo. She has issues with Demo subscribers, as well as a boy chip and his subscribers as well at that time, causing drama. Now, I wasn't there in those streams at that time, but Matthew was there for some of them at the time, because Matthew did support Demo at the Warrior at that time. And around 2021, Demo actually addressed that situation to the point that, he did mention, Matthew and Erica Boychip by names, but he was talking, saying that, he was sick and tired of the drama negativity and he wants no part of it. So he had to call it out, and I can understand Demo not getting involved into the drama negativity, because that part I can understand. And that's, he want nothing to do with that. Now, I don't blame Demo for for all the drama and negativity stuff that he wants no part of, and I don't blame him for that. So, but that wasn't the only thing that happened in 2021. There was something else happened in 2021. Erica made a video titled, what was it called? Oh yeah, Darren Expert passed away. And some people did saw that at the time, and she was saying that Darren Expert passed away. Now, for those of you who do not know who Darren Expert is a former YouTuber. He used to go by the name WWF Attitude Era WWF, where at the time he used to make videos about showing WWF Attitude Era content at the time. Now, Erica used to watch Darren Expert's channel at the time, support him and all that stuff, until a few years ago, Darren Expert's channel got terminated due to multiple copyright strikes from WWE when he was uploading, those copyright WWE videos from the Attitude Era. WWE saw that, and they decided to copyright strike and terminate his channel. And ever since then, Darren Expert quit YouTube after that, So Erica did a tribute to that. I did saw the video. However, around that time, there was another YouTuber. I don't know the person's name, but there was another YouTuber that actually made a video calling Erica out, because he saw that video about, Erica saying rest in peace to Darren Expert, right? He called Erica out on that because, according to this other YouTuber, he said that, he actually saw that video of Erica saying that Darren Expert passed away. So this person did a double check, because this person actually followed Darren Expert on Facebook. And he actually contacted Darren Expert, saying hi, and then Darren Expert responded hi, right? And this other person was telling Erica that Darren Expert is not dead. He's alive. And he also says, I don't know why Erica made that video to begin. He doesn't know why Erica made that video to begin with. What is her agenda? Why would she make a video talking about Darren Expert passing away? Which he didn't. He was not dead. He was alive. And Darren Expert is still alive to this day, and thank God he's still alive. But Erica saw that video, and then a few weeks later, she deleted that video. Now, I'm going to be honest here. When I first heard about this, right, At first, I thought maybe she thought that he died, and maybe it was a misunderstanding or something. That's what I thought at first. But then I found out later on that that was not the case. Erica faked the man's death for clout. That's what she did. She faked Darren Expert's death for clout. You know how sickening that is? You know how stupid that is? Like, what is wrong with her? That was